Hello everyone. Today's video is certainly an interesting one. For some reason, Brony Fandont, or as we all call them, Bonk, has decided to return to the internet. If you don't remember him, he was one of the people who tried to help push the allegations against Saber and is the person spearheading the Black Griffin allegations. Now, despite the entire situation just completely falling apart and the general consensus being that this person is actually just insane, it turns out that Brony Fandont simply doesn't know when to quit, as it turns out that he for some reason decided to come back to the internet in an attempt to continue to push all of this just nonsense. This only happened, by the way, because Black Griffin recently made a song which is performing very well on YouTube, and Bonk is obviously very salty. Bonk for some reason figured he could just keep pushing this incredibly false narrative against Black Griffin and that everyone who previously covered him would just be fine with it. So for the purpose of this video, I will be going over Bonk's recent return to the internet and how he continues to ruin any chance of anyone he investigates getting criminally charged. But, as we find out, I don't think Bonk really cares about that. But before we get into that, make sure to subscribe so that I can feed my starving family. So as I said, Bonk decided to run back to the internet and make his presence very well known with a tweet saying, "If you have a question for me, ask it. If it's just you trying to insult me, don't be surprised when I block you. If you're not being hostile, ask anything. This is a Q&A." And obviously, a lot of people showed up to ask Bonk a lot of questions. Yours truly was even there, to which Bonk said I wasn't even a content creator because I can be mean in videos on people. I wonder who else has said that I wasn't a content creator before. But while I could sit here and suck my own dick, I could also just highlight easily some of the greatest responses that Bonk gave during the Q&A. One thing that someone asked was, strictly hypothetically, what would have to happen for you to move your position on Black Griffin and Saber allegations? What evidence would you need to see? Which is, a pretty reasonable question. To which I think Bonk gave the totally reasonable response of a time machine to change what Gabriel has done. That's right, guys. There's not a single piece of evidence Black Griffin could provide to make Bonk change his mind. Personally, I think this is just an incredibly dangerous mindset to have. Even though most people know Saber did nothing, and a lot of people are leaning on the fact that Black Griffin did nothing, to deny the possibility that there could theoretically be a piece of evidence to completely change everyone's stance on, any situation is ridiculous to even try. Another amazing question that was asked is, looking back, what are your thoughts on the situation with Saber and Emmy? After the cat's out of the bag, what Emmy did and the other junk she's done. This is clearly in reference to a video we've covered before that has been taken down, by the way. That was completely fucking bullshit. I think we all know that Emmy, legally silenced that guy. So fucking cringe. That's why I'm glad that my coverage of that video still exists online, so people have that to go watch it. But anyway, this was another easy question of, how do you feel after the dust has settled and people have kind of collectively agreed that nothing happened to Emmy and that, Saber is completely innocent? To which Bonk responds with, I feel really bad for her. She doesn't deserve any of this. I don't understand how Saber could just go on with his days knowing what he's done. Bonk, you guys never provided evidence that Saber did anything. All you guys did was claim Saber did this horrible thing, but you've never provided a single piece of evidence to debunk Saber's response. The guy paid literally thousands to get DMs he had with Emmy. Meanwhile, Emmy's evidence is just yeah, bro, this totally happened. If you have some type of absolutely solid evidence, then why hasn't that ever been provided? Why wouldn't you provide this evidence to completely fucking change the narrative and just get everyone on your side? It's just the same thing. These people believe Saber is this terrible fucking person, and there's literally nothing. I have yet to see any evidence to even insinuate that Saber did anything unconsensually. There's fucking nothing. So someone actually came into the comments and asked the million-dollar question that I and many others have been wondering. Okay, fine. Why don't you share all of the information you have about Black Griffin to Rain or the police? I get it, ACAB or whatever. But you're literally not trained and equipped to deal with shit like this. Which I think is what we've all been wondering. Why have you just been fucking making an ass of yourself online? Why have you guys been making gay little hints that you're gonna fucking post shit instead of taking this to the fucking authorities? Like I said, they're accusing these people of being pedophiles and rapists and saying that they have just the most concrete proof ever. If that's the case, why haven't we ever seen any of that? If you have hardcore proof of what Black Griffin has done, like you claim you have, then why would you not provide it to the police like a normal person would in this scenario? Bonk's wonderful response to this is, why don't you? I've never told anyone not to. Yeah, that's right, guys. You're wondering why Bonk hasn't submitted these 100% foolproof accusations to the police? Well, why haven't you guys? You guys who don't believe the accusations. What's taken so long? Why haven't you guys reported it to the police? Bonk, the reason why no one has reported this stuff to the police is because no one else but you is crazy enough to believe these accusations. I mean, as Slug pointed out to me, literally one of Bonk's pieces of evidence against Black Griffin is that he touched a chair that Claire sat at one point during a panel. I'm not even making that up. That is legitimately one of Bonk's pieces of evidence as to why, Black Griffin is a groomer. I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. This doesn't really feel like it's the own that you think it is. This is exactly why we say that Bonk is a delusional person, as if this is what constitutes for evidence in their eyes, then I think anyone who trusts them on allegations going forward is a legitimate moron. For real, if you trust Bonk going forward on any type of situation, I think less of you. Another absolute highlight from this Q&A is someone talking about how Bonk refuses to listen to the quote-unquote victims in this situation, who have literally come out to say that Black Griffin hadn't groomed them. Bonk at first tried to deflect this before being asked if he actually even watched the videos. Bonk went on to say that yes, he has watched all of these videos and interviews. He's just so knowledgeable. To which he was asked what both of the women said in the videos, and then Bonk just never responded. Yes, I have indeed seen these videos. Okay, well, what happened in these videos? Oh, fuck, that's a great question. I've actually heard before that Bonk does not watch any videos that are critical of him or any of his actions. He just pretends that he does and uses that to talk a whole lot of shit about anyone who criticizes him. Like me, for example. He did that with me. Someone actually even asked why Bonk didn't answer why Emmy and KP just wanted to post this online instead of taking this rape accusation to, the internet. Which, yeah, if you make accusations like this and you don't take it to the police, then I think you're incredibly fucking, just disingenuous. Bonk's response was even more disingenuous than you could think. Just saying that, oh, God, geez, man, these questions are getting too stupid. That's right, guys. Wondering why KP and Emmy only wanted to spread this bullshit online? That's cringe. Who would even think? Why would we even think of that? We want to figure out why they just went to the internet instead of the police? What are you, fucking stupid? I think the fact that you didn't answer something like this truly shows off who you are and what your character is and what your priority is. Bonk isn't someone who, actually cares about victims. Bonk doesn't care about, children being harmed. Bonk cares about canceling Black Griffin and being the person to do it. That is literally all they fucking care about. They want this guy canceled. They want this guy without a YouTube channel. They want this guy homeless, and they just want the credit of it. That is who Bonk is. So anyway, I think we can start rounding the video off. It is clear to me, and should hopefully be clear to all of you guys, that Bonk is completely fucking crazy and has zero idea of how to handle accusations of such a serious degree. There are a whole lot of questions that were asked, and Bonk never answered them. If you want to go read that entire tweet and all of the comments below it, I will link it below because it is honestly pretty amusing. Bonk is a completely washed, unreliable narrator, and frankly, I truly do think that any situation he even tangentially gets involved in is a disaster. If Bonk hears allegations and backs them up, then for me personally, I think those allegations are more than likely false. That's who this person is, and sorry, that's your credibility. That's who you've become. Anyway, that's where I'm going to round the video off. I don't know, join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe, I guess. It'd be pretty cool. Anyway, I don't know. Later.